Hello and welcome to today's demonstration of the WTIN.com Medical Textiles Intelligence channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Medical Textiles channel. Firstly, we're just going to have to log into the website so we can actually have a look at the Medical Textiles channel. So to sign in, you can see it's just in the top right hand corner over here. Click on that and enter your details. So I'm just going to put in my email address and my password, and then if you click remember me, that will keep you signed in on this computer, so you won't have to do that every time. So now that I'm logged in, you can see it says welcome just in the corner over here, so that's how you know that you're signed in. And then we can find the Medical Textiles channel page just over here under the intelligence section. So it's over there. If we click on that, that will take us to the channel page itself, and then we'll be able to see everything that's been published recently in regards to medical textiles. The Medical Textiles channel functions as a source of actionable, accurate intelligence which enables users to build a successful strategy, develop new products, and identify new clients and new markets. The channel achieves that by creating firstly a number of reports, and if we scroll down just past these latest 3 articles at the top of the page here, you'll see the intelligence section over here. So these are all the latest reports that have been published on the Medical Textiles page. These medical textile intelligence reports have 2 main types of focus. The first one being the market intelligence, which you can see an example of there in the top right hand corner, looking at the adult incontinence nonwovens market, and then another one there looking at the medical disposables market. As you might have seen, these are providing insightful market reports that are going to provide sales, marketing, and strategic planning for your organization, and they achieve that by looking at aspects such as growth and trends within certain markets, which can be product markets or it can be regional growth as well. So if we look at one of these reports here, you can see we can click on this market report. So firstly, you'll see a summary here or a contents page on some of the more comprehensive reports. But now we can download this. You can see here it's about 17 pages long. Now typically these reports are of that length or a bit longer. Some can go up to about 30 pages or so because they do go into quite a lot of detail. The reason we offer them as PDFs that you can download just in the top right hand corner there. But the reason they are PDFs is that it's a lot easier to see on your browser. Instead of just reading it on the web page, you can have that as a PDF, so you can just read that a lot easier that way. Now, it starts with a summary there, so you can see what the report is going to focus on. And then if we scroll down, you can start to see this is the analysis of the global medical nonwoven disposables market size. And there are elements here of forecasting always involved in these reports as well. So here we're talking about the current market when this report was published, and also by 2022 what we envision the medical non-woven disposables market to be at in terms of value. Now here you can see different trends looking at different regions there, and again what we expect to see by 2022 in all these different regions. I'll keep scrolling down here. You can see we do address that for America, Europe, and Asia. Now, interestingly, what we do next is have a look at the different product groups. So these are actually looking at how the product groups themselves are growing and what they're expected to grow to by 2022. So you can see we've done that for gowns and drapes, and then medical wipes just to the right of that. If you keep going through the report, you'll see that we're doing that with the majority of the medical textile areas here. And then typically these reports will end with a conclusion or an outlook as to what we expect to see next. And that concludes it quite nicely with our opinions on what will happen next in terms of if these different topics will continue to grow or not. So another example of a report is the technical reports that we have, and you can see there in the top left there's a recent report about medical and healthcare textiles looking at disposables versus reusables. So again, here you can see the table of contents and what is covered in this, and then we could download that report and take a look at the full extent of that report over here. So again, this one is now 27 pages long, so considerably longer than the previous market report that we just looked at. And there again is the contents page, so everything that will be covered in here. Now what these technical reports tend to do, these tend to focus more on the R&D side. So these are going to support your decision making in product development, and that's achieved through these detailed reports and also other articles, and those can be on both commercialized innovations and research that's still going on in academia. So that's one example there of the technical reports, and I can scroll through that quickly. You can see it is quite long, it does go into a lot of detail there, but I'll just scroll down that so you can have a good idea of the level of detail that we do go into here. So I'll just keep scrolling through that so you can have a bit more of a look. Of course, you can also download this report, so you don't have to keep it in your browser like this. You can have that saved on your computer. So if you do want to come back to this and read it, then that is an option. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the main medical textile page now. So the intelligence reports, you can look at the next pages by using these circles at the bottom here. And you can see some of them are actually videos, which tend to be interviews with key providers of the technology, of the textiles, and also key players, representatives from these companies. And also in academia as well, we have some of the leading researchers and talking about what the work that they're doing within medical textiles as well. So anything you see with the play button will also be an interview. And if we do click on one of these, very simple, it's just a case of clicking play on the video in here, and you can then watch these interviews. So you can see there this video does go on for a few minutes, but you can always come back and watch those later on. So if I scroll down the page, you'll see the next section that we've come to is called companies there on the left hand side. Now what the company reports do, these are company profiles. So these have structured information on the strategic activities of the global industry players within medical textiles. And this lets people benchmark themselves against these companies, see what these companies are offering, and talks about everything that they might be currently working on as well. So if we look at one of these recent examples here of a company profile, again, we can download that, scroll through, and it gives you the background of the particular company. I'll just zoom in there. So you can see the financials, how they've been performing over the past few years, if they've been growing, and then looking at the different revenue streams there, and then where they're operating geographically. And this next section then talks about the production locations, and then looking at these companies' product pipeline as well, so how their products are distributed. And you can see which of the leading categories there, just based on the size of these boxes, let you know what these companies are offering and which are the biggest products for them. And then these actual product listings here talk about the product category, the products themselves, the indication, and then the benefits of those products. So this is very interesting as well to know what these companies are actually offering. You can see we've listed all of these over here. Then the last section is called Future Trends. You can see there. So this one is looking to say what we expect to see next from this company, if there's something that they're going to be focusing on in the next few years, why they might be doing that. So that is always one of the most interesting sections there. Just talks about what this company is planning to do next. At the very end of these reports, we also then have some decision makers from within the organization itself. So in this case, it's just got some basic names there. If you do want to reach out to any of these people for any particular reason, then there are some basic names and details listed there, such as the job title. I'm just going to close that report and go back to the main page. The next section that we then have on the right is called Product Innovation. Now I'll just open one of these recent examples here. But as the title suggests, these are focused on the innovation that's going on within medical textiles. So you can see we split these up into these different sections here called Purpose, Approach, Results, and Impact. So what these do, the first one is the purpose, so actually looking what this product, what this innovation is intending to do. Then we have the approach, so how it's been put together, how it actually functions. And then the results, so it's been submitted to testing, this one being researched at the University of Leeds up there. So they've obviously tested this material and then talked about the results of that testing. And the final section there is the impact. So then if this product did come to market, if it was successful in what it intends to do, what is the impact that that might have or even prevent? So then product innovation sections are very interesting. You can see there's quite a lot of those, looking at all the recent innovations there that are going on in the medical textile sector. Now something else we'll provide you access to with a membership to this particular channel, the Medical Textiles channel, is direct access to our analysts, the same people that are writing all these reports, these different profiles as well. And that means that if you did have any questions about any of the content on here, if you wanted any clarity or a bit further information, then we will give you the details of the analysts so you can always ask them any questions that you might have. So that just helps clarify anything if you do need any further knowledge on any different areas on here, then we are happy to provide that as well. Just scrolling down the page again, you'll see that we then have a videos section. So again, these are typically the interviews that we have, so you can watch these and they've got their own section here. Not only interviews though, sometimes we do have coverage from different trade shows around the world, especially big things like the non-woven shows, so the Index exhibition that happens in Geneva every few years. We're always covering all the big trade shows as well, so you will see video coverage appearing there from those shows. On the right of that section is what we then call Insight, and these are different articles that we're publishing in relation to medical textiles. So these are not reports, but these are individual articles looking at different subjects. And if we click here, you'll see this one is talking about, again, a new innovation, but this time it's in the form of an article here. So these are all different articles on all different topics that do relate to medical textiles. Those will be updated quite often, whereas the reports tend to be updated 2 or 3 times a month due to the nature of them being much longer and requiring a lot of research behind those. So that's why we also have Insight articles available, as those give you more of a constant update around the clock nearly every single day, rather than having to wait for all the new reports to be published. So you do have a feed of information coming in the Insight area over there. And just coming up to the end of the page here, we do have a section called Around the Web. What that does is interestingly look at different websites around the web that we monitor. So we look for anything like phrases and keywords, and if they do publish anything, these different websites that are in relation to medical textiles in this case, they will appear here. And that means that if we click on one of these, you'll see that that then takes us to this third-party website that we are monitoring, and then you can just read the article directly on their page. So it's a good way of making sure that you don't miss any content that is still going to be relevant to your interests within medical textiles, and just saves you a lot of time ultimately, meaning you don't have to search elsewhere, where you can get us monitoring those different third-party websites on your behalf in this section over here. Now, just the very last area of the website here, of the medical textile page over here, is the journal section. So these journals, the Future Textiles Journal, this magazine is available as part of the Medical Textiles membership, which means that you get access to the electronic version of this magazine whenever a new edition is published. Now, typically there's 6 new editions per year, so every 12 months you'll get 6 new editions appearing here. And if we click on one of those, you can see they are very much the same as a physical magazine, except you're reading it on your computer. Now, if we did want to zoom in, you can just click on that and that will take you into the page where you can read that a bit easier. And keeping the theme of the other reports, we do let you download these magazines as well, so you can choose to save those as a PDF on your computer. And what else you can do is also search on here. So if there is any terminology you're looking for, if we just type in medical perhaps, you can see there how often the word medical has been mentioned within the magazine issue. So quite interesting that you can actually search this for any different terminology. So that's everything that is covered in the page itself. Now there are some features as well of the website, so you can see there that we do have a search facility on the right hand side. Now we can click that. That will open up this section here, this search bar on the right. Now we can then choose medical textiles as a filter, so we're looking only on that channel for information. And then if we want to type anything to search for, so if we put in non-woven, we can then see how many times non-wovens have been mentioned on the medical textiles page. And you can see there all these different results. So you can then just click on any of these results and that would take you straight to the article. Now that's good for finding out anything that's been published in the past. But if you want to stay updated going forwards, we do also have another section here, this feature called the watch list, just at the top of the page. Now I've clicked on that, and what I'm going to do next is press create watch list. Now the watch list is a newsletter, and you can see at the bottom there how often you want to receive that newsletter to your email. You can choose that yourself. But the difference with this newsletter, this watch list, is that our subscribers choose on this what they want to stay updated about. So that works by choosing firstly from different sectors over here. So if we're looking for medical information, you'll find that in technical textiles, and you can see there is medical textiles listed as a category over there. But then also non-wovens has medical applications as well, and perhaps anything else that you're interested in that you think may also be relevant to medical textiles, so things like hygiene and wipes within non-wovens. You can select any of those that you want to stay updated about. Now the next step is adding a theme, and the theme is how you want that information to be focused. So if you want to learn more about the R&D that's going on in those sectors that you've chosen, or perhaps what different companies are doing or what events are taking place, then you can just click on any of these over here, and that way you're adding another level of filtration, meaning that the articles you get will in this case be about research and development, companies and finance, and events, but all in relation to the sectors that we've chosen for medical textiles. Lastly, you can also focus that information geographically if you want to choose any regions. And then finally, you can also apply any keywords. So that can be industry terminology, or it can be the names of any companies. If you do want to keep track of competitors, suppliers, anything like that, you can type in their names. And again, it will look for any mention of those particular keywords that you put in there. So it will provide any articles that mention those keywords within that email, the watch list email, on the date of your choosing over there at the bottom. Once you've made those, it's just a case of clicking save, and then they'll appear in your list over here. You can have as many watch lists as you want, focused on as many areas as you want. Just keep in mind that if your subscription is to medical textiles, then you'll want that watch list to be focused on medical textiles. Otherwise, you won't be able to see any of the other results. Now, I hope that covers everything. If you do have any questions at all, do feel free to contact sales@wtin.com, and a member of our team will be happy to help you. But otherwise, thank you very much and goodbye.